Small changes make a huge difference in your life, and we underestimate that. And we got to stop going for instant gratification, because that literally kills our life and our journey and our happiness. So that's at least the experience that I've made, and I want to share this with you, my literally practical examples, because it's really shocking to me how much I was into instant gratification, or how much I accidentally fell into it. And I think we all accidentally fall into that. And unless we make the unconscious conscious, we won't really get where we want to go, no matter where it is, and no matter what your dream is that you want to bring into reality. And I really learned that small steps make such a huge difference, and we really underestimate that. So that's what we're going to talk today about. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. I'm Vanessa, and if you're returning, welcome back, friends. I'm happy you're here, so thank you so much for tuning in. I just come back from my Gaga dance class, and if you don't know what Gaga is, definitely check it out. It really, in the 8 weeks that I've been doing it, it really changed my life already. So I'm not dramatizing. It's really something that is powerful to me. And I'm not saying go do that, but I'm saying, if you try something new that you're curious about, go do it, because it has the potential to make your life so much better. And I'm going to use this example. So like I told you in a few different videos last week and the weeks before, I've just returned to Berlin for the last couple months, and I've been staying and dog sitting in a beautiful location here and looking after a really cute doggy. And before that, I was staying with my family for a while to support them and to get some rest as well in nature. And I didn't really move much there. And so my goal for coming back to Berlin was, slowly but steadily building again endurance in my body, but slowly. So if you hear little noises, this is my little sweetie here. So she just wants cuddles. And I really wanted to do it in a way that supports my nervous system instead of blowing it up. So sometimes we blow up our nervous system simply by going from 0 to 100. And, some nervous systems can hold that. And some of us will get sick if you suddenly start working out and working, hard and 40 hours a week or whatever, and then working out and then going all in with healthy eating. If you do all those drastic changes, it can sometimes lead to your nervous system being completely overwhelmed and your body responding in the way of being super tired every day or getting sick. And then you kind of fall back. That's the reason often why we fall back into old patterns with these things, because we don't take slow, small steps to adjust our nervous system to the changes. And it works for some people, especially people who didn't have, much trauma growing up, or who used to have a strong workout routine or whatever like that. But if you're somebody who has been going through a difficult phase mentally, emotionally, then you may feel I just didn't have the energy to move my physical body and get back on track there. And you may feel guilty, or some shame may come up. But I just tell you, be patient with yourself and rather work on processing the shame that's coming up, or the pain or the guilt, whatever it is, than to force yourself to get it all done in one day, because this is not realistic and this is also not sustainable. So for me, when I arrived 2 months ago, I was, starting slowly to think about, okay, how would I love my day to feel like and look like? And I knew that I would love to try out, that was also a question I asked myself. What is a new thing you're curious about that has to do with movement, but maybe you haven't dared to try or you've postponed all the time. And one of those things was definitely Gaga. And Gaga, you can Google it, like I said, is a certain movement. I would call it movement therapy actually, but it's called also movement dance therapy in a way. And you just learn to move your body in very freedom-based, liberating ways that doesn't need to be a choreography or anything like that. And before I went to my first class, I was quite nervous, to be honest. I was feeling like, oh my God, we're in Berlin. Everybody's an artist. Everybody knows how to move. Maybe it's an established class already. How is it going to be? And I just decided, you know what, no matter if you feel like you don't fit in there or whatever, you're just going to go and you can handle this. And this is the thing that you need to tell yourself. Yes, baby. This is the thing that you need to tell yourself when it comes to stepping through your fears. Ask yourself, can I handle that situation? Can I handle if, I'm the only person that's new in the class? Yes, I can handle it. Come on, let's be honest, because it all comes down to the adult you can definitely handle it, right? But sometimes when we get anxious and worried or afraid to, go somewhere new and maybe be the only new one there, or maybe don't know how it works and whatever, then it's actually a younger part of you coming through that is, feels not equipped or feels a little bit like helpless or unprepared. And then you get to step in as the adult version of you to tell that inner part, hey, it's okay. I've got you. And if it's not for us, then it's not for us. Yeah. So you get to really show up for yourself. And what the approach that I'm sharing with you here is called partswork or internal family systems, IFS. And I've spoken about this in lots of my videos, so have a look at them. But basically, I would really recommend you to just make sure you notice that every time you're trying to step through a fear and you're getting nervous about trying something new and taking a little leap there, and you notice that some emotion is coming up that wants you to resist that, just be aware that it's not the whole you that resists. It's a part of you that's nervous and feels unequipped and just needs some soothing or some reassurance. Yeah. So in that moment, you can sit down and close your eyes. Make sure you're not, driving or doing anything that could harm you. So just make sure you sit in a safe space, and then just notice, where do you feel this, whatever you're feeling. Try to name the emotion that you're feeling. So is it fear? Do you feel unequipped? Do you feel nervous? Do you feel alone, ashamed? Whatever it is you feel, just see if you can name it somehow. And once you name it, notice where you feel it in your body. So do you feel it in your chest? Do you feel it in your throat, in your head, in your belly? Where is it? Yeah, and just notice. And then see if you can send a few deep breaths into that place, because that's really helpful to put your awareness there. Breathe into that place and just imagine, I know it sounds a little abstract, but just imagine that part of you is, you can see it in front of you and visualize it, or you can just feel it. You don't even need to visualize it if that's difficult for you. That's completely okay too. Just imagine to feel it. And imagine it as a separate entity of you. Yeah, it's not about separating yourself from it or suppressing or pushing that part away. That's not what we want to do. What we want to do is we just want to separate it so we can better connect to it. I'm going to give you an example. When you connect to a friend and they tell you, oh, know what, I'm really nervous to try this out, you have compassion for them, right? More than often you have for yourself. So that's why we want to see that part of yours, that anxious part, that fearful part, whatever the emotion is for you personally, you know best. Whatever the emotion for you is, imagine it's a separate entity. And then just visualize them in front of you or just feel them. And maybe you can notice, how old is this part? Because often when this wound was created, when this fear was created, you were probably much younger. And then ask that part, hey, what would you need to feel safer to do that? And then maybe that part is going to say, I need a hug, I need a reassurance, I need you to, protect me or whatever. And again, I know that may sound abstract, but just try it out a few times. And it really, sorry, there was a hair. And it really helps, when you connect to that part inside of you and realize, oh, that was me with 7 when I had to go to this dance alone, or when I had to go in kindergarten and sing a song or whatever, and it felt so scary because my mom wasn't there or whatever, I don't know. And maybe you don't even remember what it's about, but just notice, it's already enough to notice, hey, there's a part of me that feels uncomfortable, and what does this part of me need right now to feel safer to take that leap? And if I feel for me inside, I would be like, I need kind of reassurance that it's okay to mess up, or that it's okay to be a beginner. So I would feel this in my throat and in my chest. Yes, baby. And so I would put my hand there. You don't have to put your hand there. And I would just breathe into that place. Oh. And that already lifts a little bit of the pressure. And then you just do it again. As often as you need, until you can really connect. Feel that emotion, allow it in. It's okay to feel fear. You're not gonna break. It's okay to connect to that feeling. And just tell that part, you know what? If we feel uncomfortable, we can always leave the session in the middle. It doesn't matter, it's okay. Or if we feel uncomfortable, it's okay to be ourselves and be a beginner, to make mistakes. It's okay to be new and to be looked at, or whatever it is for you, whatever leap you take, whatever is going on in that situation for you. So this is really something I would love you to practice, because it's so powerful. And when I started practicing this, I got so much more peaceful inside and more confident in taking leaps that benefit who I want to be and who I am. And so I noticed in the past 2 months, like since I went to this Gaga dancing the first time, now I feel so comfortable walking into the room and just being a part of it and moving freely and saying thank you to the practitioner and just being super involved and looking people in the eye and laughing and smiling. And, my body posture changed so much. And this is just by going once or twice a week there. And that really made a difference for me. So I feel I've been also like walking a lot every day with the doggy, and then, not drinking coffee, but drinking matcha. That helps me. You need to find out what helps you. But if you're going through a harder time where you have been not able to, be in your body, it's really important to take smaller steps to build up your endurance again. And it's, taking the smaller steps is really good for your muscle memory, but also for your feeling of, oh, I'm doing this to be healthy and not to be skinny or muscly or whatever it is, because as a child I wasn't taught that it's important to move to feel healthy and to be healthy in long age. For me, eating healthy, quote unquote, was always connected to being skinny. And I think this is quite an unhealthy way to think. And I, until a year ago, a couple of years ago, didn't really realize that I had this subconscious belief of, and that's why I wasn't motivated to consistently move, because I just felt like, okay, I need to move in order to be skinny. And that wasn't really a motivation for me anymore, because I was changing so much my values about being accepted no matter how you look like, no matter what weight you have, no matter if you wear makeup or don't, and all these kind of things. I really went through a big phase of rebirthing my values, and I think that's why I really needed to not wear makeup for a while and not be so identified with my appearance, and go through that phase of how would that feel like if I just let myself be as I naturally am. And then I also went through a big phase of anxiety and panic attacks and so on. So I really had to not move so much, because that just felt counterproductive and exhausting for me and my nervous system, because my nervous system was already dealing with so much emotional and mental processing of old trauma and old beliefs. I was really shedding so much, and that's why I walked and so on, but I didn't really move my body. And now I'm in a phase. Before this phase, I was in a phase of rest, where my body just needed rest. And that's also what you're going to need to do when you're in a burnout phase. You really need to allow yourself to rest, because this is what your body needs. And I know you may have guilt and shame come up about this, but then focus on processing the guilt and shame and letting yourself rest. Okay, I said this already in another video, so go check it out. And so now I'm in a phase where I just feel like I want to feel strong and healthy and light in my body. And that's a completely different value system than wanting to be skinny. You know what I mean? So it's so important that you take little steps towards how you want to be and how you want to live. And sometimes take little leaps, right, little one? Take little leaps that challenge you, but that don't go over your boundaries. You know what I mean? Challenge yourself, but don't overstep your own boundaries. So I think that's really, really important. And I wanted to also thank you so much for always tuning in and going this journey with me, because I am so happy to have started this YouTube channel. That's another thing I wanted to give you as an example. I started this YouTube channel 2 months ago, and I wanted to have a YouTube channel since I'm, 14, 15. And I always had this urge to share, like literally from my heart. Like when I was 14, 15, I didn't even know what I wanted to share. There was nothing I could have shared. But now look on YouTube and everybody's just sharing their life, and that's cool. People are interested in it. But then when I was a bit older in my 20s, like I did so much traveling, and sometimes now I feel like that could have been so fun to share and to edit and so on, but I didn't dare to do it, because I think I was a little bit afraid to be, just judged by other people, And now I don't care anymore. I just had, when I was living in Lisbon, I was already working with people, and 6 years ago, I had a huge life change where I had a big spiritual awakening, but that was very soft. It felt so blissful. And I realized, I was going through a burnout at the time, but everything that I discovered that helped me, like sound therapy, breath work, somatic healing, all these things that I used and practiced on myself, or, worked with different practitioners and then trained in, because I just felt like, wow, I love this. Whatever this is, this has all my attention and my love. And I just went down this rabbit hole, and that felt like so natural to me. It felt like all the light switches were getting switched on. And I was reconnecting with qualities, or switching on qualities that I've always had within myself, but that lay dormant and that I never really used and suppressed, actually, because growing up they were not really welcome, like my foresight, or like my sensitivity and empathy. And I have this sort of truth-telling sense, and that I see sometimes the potential in people, and or I always see the potential in people. And then when I, would tell them what I feel and sort of, what I truly feel, that would often, trigger my family members. And that's why I learned to suppress these qualities, and also my empathy for this like deep feeling sense, because that wasn't really something that was appreciated either. And there's no judgment towards anybody here. But suddenly I found that these things are part of me, these qualities. And I kind of learned that they can be, my natural gifts that I can use in daily life, working with people. And that just, in the process of working through a burnout, gave me so much passion and purpose. And knowing that what I learned is not just for me, but I get to work through this as a foundation for knowing how it feels like to work through all these things, and then, giving it forward to other people. And I was just blown away, and I felt like in such a blissful phase, and that was incredible. Like this time starting working with people, I will never, never, never forget. And then a couple of years, 3 years later, I suddenly had like a lot of panic and anxiety come up. And when you're a practitioner, you have to go through your own cycles of awakening. That was the harder awakening. That was really like a dark night of the soul, I would call it, where I had to go through this. And sometimes I felt like, ashamed to go through that. Like, I've done already the work, and, I'm working with people. That is, now I'm having panic attacks. How can this be? And I shamed myself so much. But you got to know that that's how I learned that I am also just a human being going through my own experiences. And that's exactly how it's supposed to be. Life is a journey of change and transformation and deepening. And that was my hardest time of my life so far, or second hardest. And sometimes I even felt like, oh, I don't know. Wow, this is like so hard. I don't even know if there's a tomorrow. But I can tell you there's always a tomorrow, and you can make it out of anything. And that's really what I learned. And now looking back, although that time was one of the hardest in my life, I'm so grateful for it, because now I know how anxiety feels like, how panic attacks feel like, how depression feels like, and how to lead myself out of that, and how to lead other people out of that. And this is the gift that I have as a practitioner. And it's a gift, and it's also the most difficult part of being a practitioner, because I know I have to go through the things that I will teach to people. And that just comes with it. But I'm not sorry about it, because I just love it. So that, was for me a big time of change, a long way around to say, before that big dark night of the soul, I felt like I needed to be so professional and make everything so professional, and couldn't go into my personal story. And that's why I felt limited not to start a YouTube channel, because I felt like, oh, but then people see I'm not perfect, or I'm not, practitioner should have it all figured out. But that's not true. And through this dark night of the soul, that was so humbling, and I really needed that, I think, retrospectively, to also be so honest and humbled in, that actually opened me up even more. And I've always been honest and humble about what I do, but I just feel like it offered me the opportunity to break all the foundations that were not me anymore, that were not authentically who I want to be and who I am. And that also offered me like a new beginning. And then moving away from Portugal just was a perfect opportunity to say, let's start over. And after a rest phase, I I came now to Berlin, back to Berlin, which makes me really happy. And that's when I decided, you know what, now or never. I feel like I learn best when I learn through the personal experiences and professional experiences of other people. And that's why I decided now it's time to start my YouTube channel, because I feel like I have tons that I want to share. And I just want to be myself and be authentic and share from my heart, because my sharing was never something that came through my mind. I just always wanted to give my soul a platform to express herself and use my voice and see how, through being myself, I can inspire others and support others to find their own way and, drop all the layers that are not yours, heal your wounds, and step into your unique gifts and qualities. And this is my biggest pleasure in life. And every time I get to work with people, it's just when I see them break through their mental patterns and allow their emotions to flow and have these magical realizations, I'm the most grateful person in the world to get to do this work. That's why it's so worth it for me to also go through the hard times, And that's what I wanted to share with you today. So whatever it is you want to start, do it. Because if there's something holding you back, just take teeny tiny steps. I started this YouTube channel 2 months ago. I started going through to the dance classes 2 months ago. Now 2 months later, I feel like a new person. And I feel so much more confident in my body movement. I feel so much more confident in speaking in front of the camera, just letting it flow. And just enjoying really much this YouTube journey, but also my personal rebirth journey in the world in Berlin. And so I'm so glad that you're part of it and that you're tuning in for the videos. Really, thank you. I really appreciate you and being here and commenting and liking and subscribing. And if you haven't yet, do it, join our community. I really want to build something that supports you guys and that helps you express yourself fully and go for what you want. This is my biggest joy. So if you have any topics you want me to talk about, place it below. And if you have any questions, please also share it below. Like, subscribe, help me build this community of liberation and wholeness and letting people be who they are and asking questions that are hard to ask and, releasing held emotions and processing limiting beliefs so that you can be your free, natural self and be. Yeah, that's my biggest wish.